Hello and welcome to In Focus. Today, 2 ways Russia is trying to frighten people outside Ukraine and how that's going. Spanish fighter jets scrambled over Romania this week to chase down a Russian drone. And Europe's biggest nuclear plant, held by Russian troops for 3.5 years, lost its power supply again, the 15th time this year alone. Let's start with drones. One crossed into Moldova at 3 in the morning. Another came down and exploded in Romania. Neither was an accident of navigation. Arson in Estonia. Sabotage in the Baltics. An explosion at a munitions plant in Italy. It all fits the same pattern. And NATO is no longer keeping its answers secret.
Moldova's defense ministry reported that the drone was detected at 3:16 a.m. It remained in Moldovan airspace for around 6 minutes before returning to Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky said Russian forces had attacked a border crossing with Moldova in Ukraine's Odessa region using drones. Romania's defense ministry confirmed that a military radar system had detected aerial targets near the border, north of Tulcea County. 2 Spanish Air Force fighter jets and a Romanian Air Force helicopter were scrambled to intercept the potential threat. One drone crashed and detonated 4 kilometers from the village of Grindu in Tulcea County.
The aggressor state is increasingly testing the resolve of NATO and its partners, violating the sovereignty of neighboring states and deliberately expanding the risks posed by its war far beyond Ukraine. Together with Mihai Popsoy and Oana Toiu, we will remain closely coordinated and work toward a stronger and more effective regional response to Russia's cynical attempts to widen the war it started. Andriy Sybiha, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, on X social media.
Countering Russian drones is becoming a key challenge for Moldova and Romania, Le Monde reports. The growing number of such incidents is being linked to an increase in Russian strikes on the Odessa region and on port infrastructure along the Danube and the Black Sea. Experts point to a sharp escalation in Russia's hybrid aggression against European countries.
Today, we need to pay closer attention to hybrid threats. This includes sabotage, cyber attacks, various attempts at diversion, and Russian intelligence activity. Exactly what we have been seeing, for example, in the recent explosion at an ammunition plant in Italy. Of course, objective factors such as the heat and the fact that explosives were being produced there may also have played a role, but Russian involvement cannot be ruled out.
Countering Russian hybrid threats has also become one of the key topics in talks between the prime ministers of Latvia and Lithuania. The main risks include illegal migration, sabotage, and arson. In Estonia, for instance, authorities are investigating possible Russian involvement in the arson attack on the building of defense company Milrem Robotics.
This is a natural element that Russia, unfortunately, is using. This is a hybrid attack. Russia does not like that we are helping Ukraine, which is why all organizations as well as companies, dual-use or military companies, must be on higher alert. This is just an example that security systems, we must also listen to the instructions of our special services about the need to improve one's security skills, specifically in company security.
Meanwhile, NATO is already preparing for possible Russian aggression. According to Bild, the alliance has developed a concept for ground combat operations in the event of an attack on the Baltic states. It envisages a phased response to missile and drone strikes, followed by a response to a possible Russian ground offensive. At the same time, the alliance is not hiding its defense plans. Such openness gives Moscow a clear understanding of what the consequences of an attack on a NATO member would be.
NATO plans to neutralize the missile threat first. This could involve fighter jets, missiles, and unmanned systems capable of striking Russian missile systems. The next element would be the creation of what is known as an autonomous zone along the borders with Russia and Belarus. Under the plan, drones and robotic military transport systems would play a key role in this zone, from a Bild report.
The North Atlantic Alliance is openly demonstrating its readiness for a potential confrontation. On August 18th, unusually high levels of NATO air activity were recorded near the Kaliningrad region, Die Welt reports. An airborne early warning aircraft, a reconnaissance aircraft, and the latest U.S. electronic warfare aircraft were simultaneously operating in the area. NATO confirmed that the operation involved U.S., Norwegian, and Polish forces. According to analysts, any unusual NATO activity near the Russian enclave is perceived as a signal to Moscow, reported by Nikita Skoblikov, UATV News.
Russian troops took Zaporizhzhia in March 2022 and have used it as a shield ever since. 27 blackouts later, it's running on diesel generators that were never built for this. Moscow blames Ukraine each time and won't let inspectors near it. Ukraine's position hasn't changed. The plant is only safe under Ukrainian control.
For the 15th time since the start of the year, the ZAPORIZHZHIA nuclear power plant has been left without external power supply. ENERGO-ATOM reported. Backup diesel generators automatically switched on at the plant. They power the station's critically important safety systems after the loss of external power.
This latest blackout once again confirms that the situation at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant remains unstable. The risks to nuclear and radiation safety under the influence of incompetent Russian managers are growing. The only guarantee of the plant's safe operation remains the deoccupation of the ZNPP and its return to the full control of Ukraine and its sole legitimate operator, from a statement by the National Nuclear Energy Generating Company, ENERGO-ATOM, on Telegram.
Since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, this is already the 27th blackout at the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant, and each such incident creates additional risks.
The situation at the ZNPP is deteriorating, and we see equipment degradation. The condition of the diesel generator plants is of particular concern. Frequently operating the diesel generators for short periods places significant load on the equipment, resulting in increased wear. Pavlo Kovtoniuk, head of the National Nuclear Energy Generating Company, ENERGO-ATOM, from a publication on the company's website.
On August 12th, Russia's foreign ministry once again accused Ukraine of an alleged drone attack on the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. And as always, this lie has nothing to do with reality. Ukraine's Ministry of Foreign Affairs stressed that Moscow has provided no independent confirmation of its claims, and that statements from Russian occupation structures cannot be considered credible. Russia is using the largest nuclear plant in Europe as a military base and as a tool of information operations and nuclear blackmail. Ukraine's Center for Strategic Communications explained, the Kremlin is simply trying to distract the international community's attention from the very fact of the Zaporizhzhia NPP's occupation.
Ukraine's defense forces do not attack nuclear facilities and do not create threats to global nuclear safety. Russia is denying the IAEA access to all facilities and locations at the occupied ZNPP in violation of the IAEA statute and its own obligations to the agency. The aim of the Russian provocation is to undermine mutual trust and obstruct coordination between Ukraine and the IAEA on nuclear safety. Ukraine calls on the international community to strip Russia of its seat on the IAEA Board of Governors and to strengthen sanctions for Russia's deliberate creation of nuclear safety threats and its weaponization of them as an instrument of blackmail, from a statement by the Center for Strategic Communications on Telegram.
Russia's occupation of the Zaporizhzhia NPP creates a real threat to Europe and the entire world. At present, the situation in the field of European and global nuclear safety is largely shaped by the risks tied to Russia's war against Ukraine and the danger posed to Ukrainian nuclear plants. And Moscow's increasingly aggressive rhetoric, along with Russia's intensifying hybrid threats, has already sparked discussions within NATO about strengthening and expanding nuclear deterrence programs on the eastern flank.
All of Europe right now wants to reassess its nuclear posture, and, well, they understand that they're practically bare right now. This is a real threat. It's not theoretical. 10 years down the line. It's today, it's tomorrow. Military movements could already start tomorrow, whether direct or hybrid, or, some kind of little green men scenario or something, a Crimea-style scenario, but this could already be happening today.
Russian troops seized the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant on March 4, 2022, during the battle for Enerhodar. According to an assessment by Greenpeace Ukraine, whose analysts examined satellite imagery, Russian authorities have not abandoned their attempts to connect the ZNPP to the power grid of Russian-occupied Ukrainian territories, including Crimea, as well as southern regions of Russia. According to nuclear energy specialist John van de Putte, Rosatom views the Zaporizhzhia NPP as a cheaper alternative to building new nuclear reactors in Rostov and Krasnodar regions. Reported by Victoria Chistiukina, UATV News.
Russia is out of ways to win on the battlefield, so it's selling fear instead. A drone here, a reactor there. But Europe is rearming, NATO is publishing its plans, and Kyiv keeps naming the blackmail for what it is. Fear only works on people who don't understand what they're looking at. Thank you for watching In Focus. If you enjoyed this episode, then make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. We'll see you in the next one.